by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
It's the Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Mike Wazowski.
Open your eyes.
Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me!
King Kong ain't got on me!
What about second breakfast?
Why not? Why can't I?
How can we be expected to teach children to learn how to read if they can't even fit inside the building?
Well, welcome, one and all, to a new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers, a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you live-ish from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
As opposed to delayed?
Yeah, I don't know. It's live now.
Yeah.
By the time they listen to it, it won't be live. I'll be asleep.
I respect that.
Yeah, whatever.
I'll allow it.
So this week we are going to continue on our quirky independent style films after our journey into French cinema with Amelie and rewatch 2001's The Royal Tenenbaums.
I need a favor. I want to spend some time with you and the children.
Are you crazy?
Well, wait a minute, damn it.
Stop following me.
Well, I want my family back.
Well, you can't have it. I'm sorry for you, but it's too late.
What? Listen, baby, I'm dying. Yeah, I'm sick as a dog. I'll be dead in 6 weeks.
The Royal Tenenbaums centers around the eccentric members of the dysfunctional Tenenbaum family who reluctantly gather together at the request of the patriarch Royal. Royal is attempting to reconcile with the family years after abandoning them, and what ensues is, I guess, it's not a drama. It's like, it's funny, but not. There's sad. I don't know. I'm looking forward to rewatching it, but that's essentially the core. The film is directed by Wes Anderson, written by Anderson and Owen Wilson.
Wow.
And starring Gene Hackman, Angelica Houston, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Bill Murray, Danny Glover, and is narrated by Alec Baldwin.
Wow. Truly,
That's
wow.
right.
That's
a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, and how'd that affect you with guys?
Yeah, any initial memories from Royal Tenenbaums, Tim?
I remember watching it and thinking that I was thoroughly impressed with the style, like the aesthetics, and the full gamut of emotion, like you talked about, kind of what you experienced. I never was that impressed with Rushmore, his kind of first big kind of on the scene movie that people loved and raved about. And I remember seeing that and being like, I'm just not getting it. And I never saw Bottle Rocket until probably 10 years after this and kind of went way back to experience it. So this is kind of my first foray really into like, oh, now I get what Wes Anderson is about.
I agree.
So this was the one that really stood out as this is a clear indication of what he could accomplish. So yeah, I was always impressed with it, but it's been probably 10 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, it has probably been a while since I've actually seen it. This is, in my head, this is my kind of favorite Wes Anderson film.
Yeah.
That, and I actually really like Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't know why. I just really love that movie.
It's flipping good.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think that's probably why it stands out is that it was so, it was so much like, this is what this guy is about.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing it in Sioux City, Iowa with my friend Azina.
Wow.
And being like, what? This is outstanding.
Yes.
And this is a ton of fun. I think in one of the reviews I read, but I didn't write down, but it just said like, this is kind of the movie that we need right now because it was obviously officially released end of 2001 and just that fun sort of really well done movie.
Yep.
I probably haven't seen it 10 years ago, so I am pretty stoked to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because we've seen other ones since then.
Yes.
On his level.
And I've loved his the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou that I I know I see your reaction to it. I've watched that one much more than I have this. And so I'm very excited to go back and see this with how it's aged. So
I will give that film yet another chance. Steve Zissou.
It's so good.
And I don't know if it's because I share a name with him, so I just can't like it.
Maybe. But
I don't know why. It's never been my jam. I'd rather watch, obviously, this, Fox. I really like Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, that's
and good. So I think I'd rather watch those, but I just don't understand people's love for it. But I'm not going to go on a rant on that.
Yeah,
we will just move on to our first segment, which is Drinking Buddies.
Come on, not my fucking beer.
Where Tim takes us through our beers or buddies for the episode. There is no theme beer for those of you who really rely on that for your entertainment. So, but we will be okay and be able to move on. So, Tim, what do we have for Drinking Buddies this week?
We have from Outstate Brewing Company out of Fergus Falls. New one that we came across this week. They're like, let's give it a shot. Their Edge Catcher New England Hazy IPA. And then after that, we're going to have from Montgomery Brewing out of Check's Notes. Oh, Montgomery, Minnesota. Their Juiced Up Kettle Sour with prickly pear, pineapple, lime, and guava.
Guava.
And then sticking in the same vein as far as brewery goes, we're going to have from Montgomery Brewing the Juicy Haze Experience. It's a New England IPA with Enigma and Nelson Savon. Savon hops?
Savon, yeah. Brand new, by the way. It was just tapped yesterday.
Whoa. Excited for that. And then the final one we're going to have is from a brand new brewing company out of Duluth, Warrior Brewing Company. It is their Barbarian Imperial Stout. And as we talked about before, we're probably going to split this because it's 12%. So that'll be the one we end up. Yep. Those are our drinking buddies.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So our next segment, that brings us into the social network.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
Where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 20 years ago. Yet again, I find myself in the global we position here because I'm just going to let you take the reviews and we'll go from there. So, Tim, what do you got for our social network for the Royal Tenenbaums?
The IMDb rating is 7.6 out of 10. There you go.
Thank you.
Stephanie Zacharek from Salon.com said that director Wes Anderson is more interested in his own cinematic development than he is in developing his characters. So one of the negative ones that I came across.
Whatever, Stephanie.
I know.
This was up for an Oscar.
It was so good. But Peter Travers of Rolling Stone said that the film works. That the film works is due to director Wes Anderson, who has made something eccentric and hilarious that can suddenly, maybe not for hours or even days later, choke you up with emotion. And our big man, Roger.
Peter Travers, man, he's a freak. He's choked up with emotion.
Like just later.
I don't even know what you do on a Friday night, Pete.
Days later, he's like, oh, remember that scene with...
Oh, I got choked.
Oh, the Tenenbaums? Ooh. Chokes me up.
Choked me with emotion.
I just love the critique from one is, director Wes Anderson doesn't do much, and it's actually just about him. And the next one's like, it only works because of him.
Sure.
Then we had Big Man Roger, 3.5 out of 4 stars. The film is, at its heart, profoundly silly yet loving. And it doesn't mock the family's dysfunction, but sympathizes with it. And as you mentioned, that year for the Academy Awards, it had one nomination for Best Original Screenplay by Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson.
Wow. That's great.
So that's our social network.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? I was only listening to the beers I brought. What's the one that you just cracked open?
The Outstate Brewing Hazy IPA. Not to jump ahead to the Drinking Buddies thing, but Hazy is not here for that, but we'll get to it.
I already have thoughts.
It's an IPA. I saw your reaction.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall
Give it some time. Yeah.
So I think checks notes.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Yep.
So we are going to rewatch 2001's The Royal Tenenbaums. Please watch along with us and enjoy.
I've missed the hell out of you, my darlings. Well, you know that, though, don't you?
I hear you're dying.
So they tell me.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've had a good run.
You don't look so sick, Dad.
Thank you.
What have you got?
I got a pretty bad case of cancer.
Oh, how long are you gonna last?
Not long.
A month, a year?
About 6 weeks. Let me get to the point. The three of you and your mother are all I've got, and I love you more than anything.
Oh!
Chaz, let me finish here. I've got 6 weeks to set things right with you, and I aim to do it. Will you give me a chance?
No.
You speak for everyone?
I speak for myself.
Well, you've made your views known. Let somebody else do some of the talking now.
All right. We got beer, water, cupcakes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I think we're good.
We're good. Welcome back. We had our
back.
beer, water, and
Cupcakes podcast. Yeah. 20 years, 4 beers, and diabetes.
And delicious.
All right.
Wilford Brimley, the diabetes.
Well, yeah, I guess welcome back to 20 years, 4 beers, where we have just finished the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yep.
And 2.5, three and a half beers, give or take. We're on number 4.
We're on 4 right now.
Yeah, we're on 4, which is a stout.
Yep.
Our last beer was 9.5%. We have a 12% stout, and we're moving on to IPA next. We'll see what happens here.
It's going to get interesting.
So we actually are just going to hop right into our high fidelity segment.
Top 5 side ones, track ones.
Where we discuss our top takeaways, whether it's 5 or more or less or whatever. Do you have any initial takeaway from the rewatching the movie, Tim?
Initial takeaway is it's got to be challenging from a movie making standpoint with Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson, the creative collaboration they've had over the years, to like hit your peak in the third movie. And what a challenge it's got to be to try and either recapture to recreate it, because so much stuff, like Rushmore was its own thing. It seemed different, but this was tonally like leaning hard into the aesthetic look of it. And so much, I think, after this movie tried to replicate in many ways like that element, but third movie in, and they are like the best version of it, and then everything else after kind of feels like a facsimile of it.
Yeah, they're all updated versions of the same idea.
Yeah, it's like
visually speaking,
like narrative, place, characters might be slightly different, but this one felt like it was so fresh and different that they haven't deviated much that I can think of much from that type of style. So it's like it's one of those few directors you go, oh, this is clearly a Wes Anderson movie, but it's hitting this at the third film for them. At least for Anderson was like really, really impressive to see. So that would like struck me as watching this again. I'm so happy that we've watched this.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, it was funnier than I remember.
Yeah, we were laughing a lot.
Yeah,
yes.
It was like legit laugh out loud funny.
Yes.
It was not... Yeah, it wasn't like slapstick funny, but it was like legitimately funny. And like old man Gene Hackman funny. And I mean, just...
Yes. Like dry humor, biting, really dark, funny, but not like...
Black comedy is what you're saying?
I mean, yeah.
Talk jive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coltrane.
Coltrane. Yeah. You can say that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It is. There's racist humor in it, in the sense of like that
old men.
That old white men in
I beg your pardon. You heard me, Coltrane.
Coltrane? What? Did you just call me Coltrane?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Listen, Royal. If you think you can
You
march...
want to talk some jive? I'll talk some jive. I'll talk some jive like you never heard.
Oh, yeah?
Right on! Sit down.
No, I was funnier than I remember it.
Absolutely. Yes.
In a good way. But also really sweet. There was a reviewer, I think one of your reviews said... Your reviews. I didn't bring any to the table. Your review said... Like the characters there wasn't a lot of depth to character.
Yeah, it's more like Wes Anderson was focused on developing his cinematic abilities and developing characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think in some sense that's okay, or that's true, but I also am like, I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
These are broken people. These are
Yep.
So I found it sweet. And in that sense, it's probably harder to get connected to the characters because there's not a lot of depth to them. But I laughed through it. You tear up a little bit at the end.
Oh yeah.
So I very glad we watched it.
Yep. I think the first 10 minutes, I actually paused to see like how far we were into it.
I was curious why you did that. Yeah.
It was 7 minutes and 50 seconds technically, but the first 10 minutes are probably like the best work Anderson has ever done in terms of the
hot take,
establishing the background, the cast of characters, and the style and the aesthetic. Like it's one thing to have like a opening kind of credits of the characters and the actors, but to have it in a way that's done with the brief background of who you're introducing, and then now it's the modern day version, or at the time, 2001, and just the aesthetic that hadn't been done in Rushmore.
Definitely
before.
not. No,
like that was a kind of a taste or like trial.
Well, Bottle Rocket and Rushmore are more like just traditional movies,
yes. But this, like with the house being kind of that central kind of story element, and like the aesthetic and the design, it is. If you were to watch kind of like a 10-minute version of anything Wes Anderson, that easily I think was his best.
Is that eventually through essentially the opening credits? Then,
yes, like once Luke Wilson's character on the ship goes off screen, then it picks up kind of the narrative, and Alec Baldwin does the narration in different areas. But that with the the font and the cards of who the characters are. Easily the 10 best minutes of Wes Anderson, I think, just across the board for his style. It was fantastic. You knew it was something different.
Right. I mean, I think that's what it is. Like you do see this coming into his own maybe on that.
Yep.
Especially as you look at other movies of his. They all are very similar in that way. That's interesting. I
thought so too. Thanks.
Yeah, write it down.
Yep. Check number 1.
I think I was struck by the writing is really good, obviously, but I think that it's very disjointed. Like it's not a natural conversational style.
Yeah,
that is in a lot of other movies. It's very like, here's a sentence, and then somebody else says, here's my response to your sentence. Yeah. Like there's no emotion to a lot of what they're doing. It's a really unique way of telling the story.
Yep.
Because it is hard to embrace these characters, but it does seem purposeful that that's the way it's written. Because it's like every line, there's no throwaway line, there's no sort of background. It's like, here's the line, and then somebody responds to it, but it's not back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's really awkward in a lot of ways, but it's an awkward family, right? Like, so, I mean, it does seem purposeful in a lot of ways. And I think that's why the screenplay stands out to me. It is like somewhere they have to, or maybe Wes Anderson did that as a director, like, okay, this is how we're doing it. Because in that sense, his tone is the same through a lot of his movies. But his other movies are not necessarily written like this.
No.
Like, it's more conversational. It's back and forth. But this is very much like, I'm going to speak, pause. Speak, pause. Like everyone, it's really awkward, but it's supposed to be that way.
Well, you think of movies that came out, around the time, but other time, like the conversational element where people go, it's a really great dialogue.
Like Alexander Payne, his movies.
Exactly.
Quirky, obviously, but that is like just dialogue all over the place.
Yes. And this is such a stylized version of the irony of being compelled by these characters and drawn to them is that it would be awful to hang out with them in real life.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
How are you're not talking like real people talk.
Yeah.
Where it's written really well and it's stylized as a movie. You can feel you're watching a movie dialogue.
Right.
There's no illusion whatsoever that this is kind of like how real people talk.
Right.
And if it was, I would
Yeah, get me the
see
hell
how
out
they're
of there.
dysfunctional. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with you guys.
No.
Like,
Mm-mm.
no. So I agree. What struck me was, we watched Amelie last month, and that was nominated for original screenplay.
Yeah.
And we watched Memento earlier this year, which was also up for original screenplay. And we're going to watch Gosford Park before the year.
Which won.
Yeah. And the other one we're not going to watch is Monsters Ball. That kind of thing. But I am really, really impressed that what I always saw of Owen Wilson as an actor, I can't speak too much of his writing, that I was thoroughly impressed watching this, thinking that he and Anderson are a great pair for this, but I was very surprised at how great the dialogue was when it did happen. Like, it was so concise and stripped down to the biting moments. Like when Royal is talking to Margot about, like, oh, we're going to meet your grandma. He's like, well, she wasn't your real grandma.
I can't say, really. Make up for lost time, I suppose. First thing I want to do is take you out to see your grandmother at some point.
Haven't been out there since I was 6.
I haven't been out there at all. I was never invited.
Well, she wasn't your real grandmother, and I never knew how much interest you had, sweetie. Anyway, you're invited now.
Thanks.
Yeah. Like the adopted, like
Consistently,
super,
even as a grown man
Yes.
or as a grown woman, consistently talking about how she's adopted.
Yeah, nonstop cutting of her all the time of, like, you're not a real daughter to me. Just terrible. But that writing element and the consistent theme to me, I would not have expected that from Owen Wilson.
No,
to be honest. I always saw him as kind of that buffoon type of idiot. I mean, we saw it with Zoolander. As what, Hansel? He's really hot right now.
He's hot right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
But seeing this was like, okay, like, he's got some quality as a writer. So,
Right.
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. They kept bringing up the adoption part, right?
Yep.
And it's not until she says it back to him
Yep.
later on and says, like, well, he says, like, he's not your father. And she's like, well, neither are you.
Yeah.
And then it's never mentioned again after that. Like, it's just sort of, it's very well done writing wise. Yeah, he's got a little renaissance going on.
Yeah.
With Loki and that kind of stuff.
Dude, Owen Wilson in Loki.
That was outstanding. Yep.
Yes. So good.
Yeah,
we could talk. Oh, we have a whole separate podcast for that, but
right.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, and you mentioned Amelie. Actually, I forgot to mention. I want to say thanks to anyone who actually listened to that straight garbage.
Kudos to you.
Kudos to you. Thanks for downloading it just to make me feel better, because that was awful. So I do appreciate that.
Yep. But a weird, like, feeling of watching that movie with the narration and the oddities, dysfunction, quirky nature of, like, a foreign film, that Wes Anderson clearly has an appreciation for and affection for that type of style.
Sure.
Where he seems to have repurposed it for an American audience. This is probably one of the earliest efforts of him to do that, where it's the quirky kind of style. So it's weird how we just watch these back to back and they came out a couple months apart, but it is such a similar type of, here's a narrator telling a story about these weird characters coming together and, like,
really
all the
weird
growth that happened together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, especially Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Speaking of, I think Wes Anderson. I think Wes does quirky side characters better than anybody. Like, main characters are good,
yeah,
but I don't think of any Wes Anderson film. The one knock maybe on Wes Anderson, and there are many, but
I have one.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, like, memorable main characters.
No.
Royal Tenenbaum actually is a
Yeah.
pretty, and actually Hackman won a Golden Globe for this role.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah,
but I think when you watch his movies, it's the side characters or the sub characters who aren't the main part of the story, like the bellhop in Grand Budapest.
Yeah,
who admittedly is a larger character.
Yeah,
but he's not like this. He's not the main character, and he's not the main central focus of an actor or whatever.
The whole
like,
intent is, like, the main story is not the main story, it's
right?
this side character. Yeah.
There's always really good side characters, and of course, this one has Pagoda as outstanding.
Yeah. And Bill Murray.
Yeah, and Bill Murray. Yeah, in a very muted role.
Yeah,
very muted.
super
for Bill Murray.
subdued. Yes.
But yeah, when Pagoda stabs him again, with that Swiss Army knife.
God damn! That's the last time you put a knife in me. Hear me?
That's the last time you put a knife in me. That's the last time you put a knife in me. It's like, well done. Yeah, he does weird, good side characters really well. He does a lot of things well. Like he does a lot of things, but every time I watch a Wes Anderson movie, I'm not necessarily struck by anybody who's like in front of me. It's like he's always got an eye on what's going on behind, like in the background, not the foreground. He's always kind of, as a director, has that eye on the background.
Well, like that's what I think like with Steve Zissou, where it's the Portuguese guy that's playing all the songs. So we'll come to that like years from now. But anyway, yes, it's like the side characters. But we're gonna watch that. Yeah. But to that point, I did mark down. I forgot how incredible Gene Hackman is as Royal. Yeah, and it's not just like Gene Hackman, the legend, and like coming in.
Right.
He is.
Yeah, he didn't mail it in.
No, one of the few actors that could embody such a terrible human being. Like clearly he's just an asshole and dismissive. And with his children, his wife, I guess eventually ex-wife, and just everything around him, that he is just unrelentingly terrible and yet still charming.
Yeah.
How do you balance that as an actor? Where I mean, you have to find the right character actor for that. But that point in his life, Hackman, like he had his career behind him. He was clearly, I think, as I remember reading, like approaching retirement and finding this character where he can be such a jerk.
Oh, he's an a-hole
in every element, but yet have these touching moments. And that's where I think sometimes the writing lays that solid foundation, and then you find the right cast member that it just amplifies that. Where had it not been Hackman, I don't know who could have been at the time to really embody that, but he is so good in this. And I think Hackman's great. I mean, obviously he's fantastic in his career, but
apparently he was a bit of an a-hole on set for this.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah. That's why, I mean, how many of these people have been in other Wes Anderson films, and how many have Gene
Well, he was
Hackman
super
been?
old, so maybe he's like, I'm not
he's
doing
not
this anymore.
dead.
That's true.
I mean, it's been 20 years. The man's not dead.
That is true.
Like, so,
sure.
But apparently they didn't
jive well.
Yeah, didn't jive. Yeah.
I'll talk some jive.
But he's so good in this.
He's really
so
good.
good as like the patriarch, and like when he's talking to his wife about he's dying.
Yeah, I'm not dying.
And he's not really dying.
Yeah.
And then it finds out later that, oh no, he's been lying the whole time.
Yeah.
And kicks him out. Like just he's so terrible and wonderful.
Yeah, he's not. There's not a lot of redeemable to him.
No.
At his core. But he does, and I think this is where I guess the emotion comes in, is that he is redeemable in the end, and that he is actually trying to get to be with his family, and he's actually trying.
Yes.
But at the beginning, he is an irredeemable a-hole. Yes. Like he's just not. There's nothing about him. He's just funny.
Yeah, Margot's birthday party, where he's like critiquing her like play at 12 years old,
right?
Like I didn't get the characters. They're saying she
leaves. There's a bunch of kids.
Yeah. It's one guy's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Just your father, not
the only person that really mattered. Anyway, yes, he's so great, so great.
I don't know. I mean, one of the things I love about Wes Anderson, I like this about Alexander Payne and some of these other directors who are really quirky and weird. And we keep saying quirky. The Haviland pig, the hog, just cracks me up.
Yes.
Because there's all paintings in the entire house.
Yep.
And he's like, where's my Haviland? And you're thinking it's some painting or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's this giant boar's head. And I'm like, who in the hell came up with that? Were you just like walking through Goodwill and he's like, oh my God.
And it's been stored.
That's it right there. And it's been stored in the game closet.
Game closet. Yeah. There you are. Yes, exactly. Like
I love the Haviland pig.
Yeah, these style choices are great. So we appreciate now Alec Baldwin's, narrative.
Oh yeah.
And just style.
Narrate me, you sexy
Exactly.
bitch.
God. And you think of 30 Rock, all these things. And
I never think of 30 Rock. I don't know what you're talking about. What am I currently watching for like the fifth
Donaghy.
time? Yes.
But I think about it's almost like this paradigm shift of, and I could be wrong with understanding or thinking what came before this, but it's almost like a similar thing like with Morgan Freeman and Shawshank, where the narration had quite not really been done like that for Morgan Freeman until Shawshank. And then it became ubiquitous, where it's like Morgan Freeman narrating everything. And you have that element of this is Morgan Freeman, you know it is like that. This feels like that for Alec Baldwin, where I don't remember a time prior to this where his narration was, or like voiceover work was like this. And now it is everywhere, and you can see him in commercials.
Yeah, he's in
like,
a lot. Yeah.
But this was, I remember watching it. I still remember at the time being like, this is perfect casting for that narration.
I agree.
Where he adds such a weird gravitas to it, and just, but also like very sterile.
Yeah, and also pompous. Like he fits the family a little bit. Like he kind of is like, really, dude? I'm not sure if it'll pop up, but yeah, if people are like,
my
what
dog
is happening
is howling
with the
in
dog
the background.
in the background? Like somebody moved
Teddy,
outside.
Be quiet.
No,
Alec Baldwin,
he brings a
so
lot
good.
to the table as
So
a
good.
narrator. Interesting.
Yes. I just remember watching it, like, or tonight, but thinking, we take it for granted somehow, or somewhat now.
Yeah.
But he clearly was chosen for this because of his narration, but I don't remember a time prior to this where it was this level of
No, he's really good.
narration. Yeah, very good.
One of my last points, I guess, is I am always reminded when I watch a movie like this that I know jack shit about music. I'm amazed. Like whenever, like with Garden State and this, and we've had other movies this year that have really great soundtracks, and nothing about it. But I'm always like, how? And we'll talk about with Vanilla Sky a little bit. On the happy hour, how do you come up with? It's not just that you come up, because anyone can come up with the famous songs, right?
Yes.
Like Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard.
Yeah, it's great.
Of course,
Perfect.
it's a perfect song for that scene.
Fun
in this movie. But yeah, every time I watch an indie movie with a great soundtrack, I'm like, I do not listen to near enough music, or I just listen to the same music over and over again.
Yes,
because I don't know any of these songs. Like 80% of them I don't, but they fit in the scene, and somebody is out there just listening to music all the time, and I kind of want that job.
Yeah.
Like how great of a job would that be? Like just be a music, not even producer. You're just like a music like finder.
Yeah.
Like what would work for this scene? Well, let me tell you. Like what's his face on from Mumford or with Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
It's Mumford, but I don't know his first name.
Mr. I think it is.
Yeah. I'm gonna call him Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll call him Jack Mumford. But yeah, he's the.
I think it's Mark.
Oh, whatever.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Somebody will tell me.
Yeah.
It's like to have that job. You're the music producer or whatever, and he just finds music for Ted Lasso.
Yes.
And it works. I mean, that'd be a great job.
Marcus, actually.
Oh,
I was just going I know it's so close. Marcus.
There's not an Irish person named Mark.
Yes.
Come on.
Exactly. Like, can you imagine like your job? Like, what do you do for
maybe
like
Irish Catholic in Boston?
I'm a music supervisor.
Yeah.
It's like, so you just sit around listening to music and thinking,
what scene is this going to be good?
I can see like a type of edit or cut. Cool. I can work with that. Tie that to it. Maybe get the rights.
Yeah. I know jack about any of that.
That's okay. You'll get there.
Yeah.
So we talked about before, like pros and cons or whatever. I will say I find somewhat the challenge in Wes Anderson movies, and this one is definitely bar none one of the most challenging. Is the attention to detail at times is overwhelming, where I'm not necessarily in the scene or the connection, but I'm scanning everything in the foreground and the background to see what might have some kind of character or narrative development, where it's like, oh, that picture in the background, okay, that's interesting. Or like this, like the name of the hotel or whatever is like the, Lindbergh Hotel. Does that mean anything? It's such a incredible attention to detail and like the style that it almost becomes like counterproductive,
distracting. We talked about it with the art
times. Yes,
with like there's a giant art piece behind Owen Wilson.
Yes,
And right next to it is a small framed hand-drawn underwear.
Like whitey tighty
yes,
underwear. Exactly. It's like, what is this?
What
Like,
is going on there?
Yes.
What's your... Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we had to, like, I don't know if we paused it or not, but you're just like, am I the only one seeing the underwear? Just on the wall?
It was a little weird. And so that's which is like it's a, a burden and a wonderful thing. Like, it's great that they do so much.
If you're going to have a problem, have it be that they overthought something.
You watch it again,
Right.
pausing it, thinking, oh, I can see this or see this, like this detail, that kind of thing. But it is definitely, from a just sit back and enjoy it standpoint, challenging in that it's so much distraction to what I think could be just a great core story that they probably really appreciated. Like, this is going to be fun at the third movie of it.
Right.
And it still continues throughout his career, but I feel like it's one thing that a minor quibble could be like maybe tone down the aesthetic craziness of it. Yeah. As I say, from my basement in Minneapolis.
I have this random memory of watching, I think it was Two-Headed Shark Attack with my friend Brandon, and he's listening, so he'll
go on.
I think it was. And they're on some island in the middle of the ocean or whatever,
Sure.
and they're like hunkering through the jungle, it's all this stuff, and all of a sudden a guy on a bike just goes behind them, like they're in some park in LA, and just some guy on a bike just goes right behind him. I'm like, so that was hilarious. That was honestly one of the best moments I've ever had in my life. But I would rather watch a over meticulously detailed movie like this, even if it's a distraction.
Well played. Touche. Yep.
Even if it's a distraction. Yeah. But it was like, and I mean, obviously we know what we're getting in that movie, but yeah, all of a sudden this dude on a bike just goes in the background. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Leave it in.
That removes you from. Yeah.
Nobody's watching.
That was the best
anyway.
take.
It was actually probably.
Yeah, that's good. That's
so
good.
I have no kind of final points. Really, I mean, I have some things that popped up. Like, I really like the single shot towards the end that goes.
Yes. All the family members.
All the family members, sort of at the end. That's really good.
The family plot. Yeah.
Yeah, and my if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. But does nobody care about Dudley?
Yeah.
Dudley just sits there, and he's at the hospital.
Yeah, like covered in Luke Wilson's
somebody
blood.
else's blood.
Yes.
Where the hell are Dudley's parents?
Yeah,
Because then Bill Murray just leaves Dudley at the hospital.
Yes. You made a cuckold of me.
Yes,
he leaves.
He
It's
leaves.
like,
And
hey,
Dudley's
buddy.
sitting there with somebody else's blood.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, I'll just sit here.
Some science experiment.
Right.
Yes.
Who the hell? Like, I don't know. The whole time, I love Dudley because you're just like, what? It's great.
Well, he had a book eventually about him, so
Dudley's World. I don't know. Any other final thoughts before we move on?
No, I have a thought around the sneaker kind of category, but
we'll move on then here in a moment.
No, I just think like a final thought is I'm so happy to watch this, and I actually think the amount of times I've watched other Anderson movies over this, I kind of laugh myself now. Like, this is such a phenomenal film.
Yeah,
like it's so damn good.
I'm not watching the Darjeeling Limited anytime soon.
I watched it once, and I'm like, I think I'm good.
It's fine.
So yeah.
Also, no offense to him, but I don't like Jason Schwartzman.
No,
like at all.
No.
Of any actor, I just kind of want to punch in the face.
But he's only good in Scott Pilgrim because he leans it hard into.
Right. I want to punch you in the face.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, I just want to punch
but he's
you
not
in the
endearing.
face.
He's not endearing.
No.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's good.
All right. Should we do Drinking Buddies? And
Yeah.
We'll go. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
for that.
We'll do our next segment, which is Drinking Buddies, the sequel.
Let's get weird.
Where we recap our beers and provide you our expert ratings. And Tim will let us know what we had, because
We'll go through it.
I literally did not write names down on my ratings. I just have ratings with hazy question mark afterwards. So what's our first one?
Outstate Brewing Company out of Fergus Falls was their Edge Catcher New England Hazy IPA.
It's a good name.
It's a great. The icon is, or the logo is kind of like you are on a ski boat and like you catch the edge of your skis.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's funny. Minnesota Tennessee
Sure.
Lake. Haha.
It is funny because then
brand.
if you catch your edge, you get a lot of water on you. Just like this beer wasn't hazy, it probably had a lot of extra water in it.
The funny thing about this beer is like it's all about marketing, as we know, like branding and thing. So if you're opening a beer labeled New England Hazy IPA, you expect it to have a few things like haze, a bit of more like sweetness to it, potentially. Had you, however, marketed this as a West Coast IPA, it would have been on brand. It was not.
Yeah, my rating probably would have been higher, thinking it was a West Coast.
Like a West Coast.
Yeah,
I gave it a 3 for.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had 3.25.
Yeah.
Both of us are low.
Right there. It was like a bait and switch as far as like I poured it out when I first started. I'm like,
It's terrible. Nobody drink the beer. The beer has gone bad.
this is not going to be a hazy.
No.
And poured more. I'm like, nope, it is not at all. Like, again, I'm all about the craze of hazy IPA, but don't tell me it's going to be that.
But I don't even think it's worth the craze in a sense of, are people really going out of their way to get hazy IPAs?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Like, come on.
Yes. It was challenging, and I was like, oh, this is disappointing. Like, hazy? Nope, not at all.
No.
But if you had said it's a West Coast IPA, a very kind of light ambery traditional IPA style.
I didn't finish mine, so I might have finished it.
I didn't either. I would have been like, okay, I can work with this. Like, this is the style I signed up for. Like you said, like, no. So, but if it was a West Coast, I'd probably like a 3.75. Maybe
3.5 and 3.75.
Yeah.
The flavor just didn't stick around. I would try other stuff from them.
Yeah.
But because I assume they're relatively new. I don't know. But
Yeah, might be. They had a bunch at the liquor store up in St. Cloud, but yeah, it was like,
it's good to know St. Cloud has a craft beer or two.
They do, a few of them. So, yeah, 3 for me for that one.
Yeah, 3.25.
Then we moved on to the Montgomery Brewing.
Which is very low for us.
It is kind of like again,
it's kind of like
style.
It's kind of like a kick in the nuts there.
It's kind of like meh.
Yeah. Do better.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Then we moved on to the Montgomery Brewing, the Juiced Up Kettle Sour with prickly pear, pineapple, lime, and guava. I had a 3.5 for me. My challenge with many of these is prickly pear, pineapple, lime, guava. I don't know that I could articulate any of the 4 flavors unto their own. Yeah. It was good together. It was like a fruit kind of cocktail blended together. But it just, it's fine. It was good.
I have 3.75.
Yeah, it was a good sour.
The guava I felt like was for the color.
Yes.
Because it did have the color of that.
Definitely did.
Prickly pear is always like, what are you bringing to the table here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just pear.
Yeah, it's intriguing.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I like Montgomery Brewing a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, and we both do. In my head, and it's not entirely fair to Montgomery, I wanted it to be similar to, say, like New Glarus's pear beer, right? Which is outstanding.
Very good.
Because it tasted like, pear. This one, the pineapple wasn't in there at all.
No.
Maybe the prickly pear and guava were kind of in there, but
sure.
Yeah, it's a totally fine sour.
Yep.
Like it's 3.75 for me, 3.5 for you. Enjoyable.
Yep.
It was good.
Yep.
But there's much. We had the other Montgomery triple berry sour.
Yeah,
that was way better.
Yes,
that was way better.
Yes.
So,
yes. But speaking of way better,
yep,
the Montgomery
from Montgomery, yep,
same brewery, the Juicy Haze Experience New England IPA, Hazy IPA. So just like we lamented,
note to Outstate Brewing,
two beers prior. This was indeed hazy, cloudy, and really, really fantastic.
So good.
It was a 4.25.
Yeah,
for me, it was fantastic. The flavors were really, really, really damn good. And again, when I think of a New England IPA, is exactly what I think about this with a hazy. So yeah, fantastic. Yeah, 4.25.
I came in at a 4.5 largely because. Nice. I mean, it is deceptive at a 9.5
9.5.
ABV.
Yep.
Like it. Like they could have technically called this like a double IPA or, you know what I mean? Like
they should have. Yeah.
Right. It is heavy, but it's not, you would not know it.
No.
When you're drinking it.
No.
So I came in at a 4.5. But I'm actually not even I don't love hazy IPAs necessarily that much because sometimes they can have like a weird bite to it after a while as they warm up.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of like, oh, this is tasting weird. That sucker was good through.
I like hazes and crowlers. I don't like them like mass produced because they become kind of this cloying, like sitting on a shelf for a while. But like recently tapped, I mean, that was definitely fresh.
Yeah, it was this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very fresh. It was good. Very good. Well done.
Cool.
And then we had the Warrior Brewing Imperial Stout, which was again at 12%. We said, let's maybe split this, tall boy.
Yeah, I'm glad we did.
I had a 4.5 for this. This to
4.25,
me
I kind of flipped it.
was a fantastic.
It's really good
stout. Like when I think of Imperial Stout, I don't want to knock me on my ass, but it's like the flavor was really good and it was well done.
Yeah,
really, really good.
This is both of our first experience with Warrior Brewing. Makes me kind of want to try them out more and find out. So it's a really, and neither of us are beer brewers.
No,
we're professional beer drinkers, and in that
amateur.
Well, professional being like we give other professionals
our
money
me?
To get.
True. Yeah.
I'm assisting other professionals.
I see
by drinking their beer.
I got that.
And I don't. I like trying a stout from a new place.
Yep.
Because like, not that it's easy by any means, but I feel like if you can nail this and they nailed it, like I want to go there. And I have the same with an IPA.
Yeah.
Like and that kind of stuff. So
a standard IPA.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
That was really good.
It was very, very good.
Yeah.
Very
we'll
good.
have to find some more of those.
Yep. I have some in my fridge.
Hey-o.
Yeah, you can take them home. Yeah.
Do you want to open that one now? And
I do.
Yeah, we'll just do that. So we're going to open. So that is our Drinking Buddies segment.
Yep.
And before we move on to Tim's, God, can you stop hitting?
I didn't mean to hit the frame.
Like you have the entire room in here and you consistently hit the microphone frame.
Tiny.
So we, before we move on to, I think Tim you have a sneakers segment.
Yes.
We are celebrating a little bit tonight, which is our anniversary. Effectively, it's 1 year. We recorded in September last year.
Yep.
But we published on October 5th was when the first one was published.
So awesome, man.
So yeah, we are sitting at a year.
This
so
is great.
now I picked up the 120 or 120 minute IPA Dogfish Head.
Their Imperial IPA.
Right. And we also have some cupcakes here. And so we are having some nice little anniversary party. And so we'll try this out. So we'll react to it as we go.
Instantaneous.
I like Dogfish Head in some ways. The 90-minute is good. You say you had the 180-minute?
Maybe I'm thinking the wrong thing.
I think you're thinking the other way around.
60
is their standard.
I have not had this.
They have They have the 60-minute
I've had the
90-minute, and then this is the 120.
Which, like, number speaking, it shouldn't be a double. It should be a... Oh, that's really...
Yeah, I was like, that's why I brought one bottle.
Yeah.
The rest of them are
if you think about the
120
minute, if the 60 is their standard, 90 is like a 1.5 IPA, but don't jump on the computer.
Well, I don't know if it's like... I don't know what they mean by it.
Well, really quick. Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been
Clinky.
A wonderful journey. When we thought about this last year, it was, you know what? Let's have something fun to do.
Yeah.
And this has been really, really fun.
Yeah. Gives you time to get away from your wife.
And she watched the movie with us tonight and then went upstairs.
Oh, my. Hello.
Oh.
Hello, good sir.
Ooh.
Hello.
Wow.
Wow. What are we sitting at there?
What you have here is the holy grail of hopheads. This beer is continually hopped over a 120-minute boil. Is that? I don't know.
There it is.
I don't know what that means, but cool.
Yeah.
And then dry hopped for over a month. Jeez. Enjoy now or age for a decade or so.
I was reading online, there are people who are like drinking...
Really?
Yeah, from like 5-6 years ago. So I have 3 more bottles, so I am kind of thinking like... If we can make it another couple years, maybe we open the next one, you know.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. But that's going to require me to... This is really good. So it's going to require me to actually like...
What's a level of like...
patience I don't have. Yeah.
Pleasure to layer.
Pleasure to layer.
Oh, spoiler. I love how it's rare to have an IPA say ages well on the bottle.
Yeah. Up to a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
This is fantastic.
It's really good.
So for those, Dogfish is out of Delaware.
And they're very full of themselves.
They're
one of the
super
earliest.
arrogant.
Yeah, well, they're one of the earliest craft beer creators, really.
Yes.
I mean, they've been around a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, the rating on it is substantially high, and you always hear about it.
Holy cow.
But neither of us want to shell out the dough for it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm glad I did, because that's really good.
Kudos.
I was like, just don't disappoint.
Yeah.
God dang it, Dogfish Head. That's really good.
Dogfish Head.
So I guess we'll move on now. But happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary, dude. Like, this has
Yay!
been, and to those listening, thank you for listening and following. But this has been a fun activity, and I listened to Almost Famous recently.
Wow.
And we've come a long way.
Yeah.
It's it's a much better experience now, I would say. So, yeah.
Cool.
Timer, don't worry.
So you have the
sneakers.
Sneakers.
Yes.
What do you have for a sneakers?
Too many secrets.
Point.
To me, the genius of Anderson films have often been around like kind of a sterile perspective on life and human perspective. Like it's
like me.
Just like you. It's very much a like kind of aesthetically pleasing, but removed, distant type of interaction where it feels like you're watching a movie. But his movies have these moments where they sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Where the emotional connection impact, like in this movie specifically, when Chaz, after getting ready for the wedding, to his mom and the Sherman, Mr. Sherman.
Henry.
Yeah, but only Mr. Sherman to him because he's an accountant forever.
Yep.
Down in the main entrance to the building, or their house, is his two sons. And after having lost his wife in an accident over the past year, comes down, and after all these elements in his life of like trying to protect them and like do emergency stuff, has the perception that he might have lost them. And unfortunately, the dog dies, Buckley.
Yeah.
R.I.P. But then, Royal gets him a Dalmatian dog to replace Buckley, which is the version of mice that he's recreated from long ago of a Dalmatian mouse. And then in this brief moment where he's petting the dog and says to Royal, like, it's been a really tough year.
A rough year. Yep.
And these tiny moments like that where it doesn't overwhelm you. It doesn't have this like huge swelling score.
The music. Yep.
And it's manipulating, but it's just a very human connection that I feel like Wes Anderson movies are in a way appearance of this sterile type of kind of, oh, look at like this cool thing from a movie making standpoint, but then it sneaks up on you a lot. Where something like this, it hit me now more than it did 20 years ago when I first saw it, where it's got the two kids and they are, grieving in some way over their lost dog that got run over by the car. Which you hit the mic.
I just did it.
You hit the
Dang
mic.
It.
You're sitting here giving me shit about
Dang
that,
it.
and that was so gratifying, so great. Anyway, tangent back.
I can cut it out.
But that was great watching it. Was the experience of actually like tearing up and seeing that wall come down that Chaz had built between him and his father,
right?
And feeling like it's been a tough year,
right,
after losing his wife. And yeah, I think Wes Anderson movies get that bad rap of stylistically cool. I remember that in Steve Zissou, where he's up in the helicopter with Owen Wilson character, and they realize they're going to crash, and he says, "This is going to hurt," and they crash, and Owen Wilson dies. Like, again, spoiler, but like it's these things where it sneaks up on you,
right?
These things. Anyway, yeah, I really appreciate a movie like this where it's kind of like a sucker punch, where I'm gonna find it's great, and then oh no, at the end, it hit me. So it's good.
I think our final segment then will be quiz show.
The exciting quiz program 21,
where we search for quirky or even difficult, potentially, trivia nuggets throughout our research for our next film and attempt to stump each other. I'm exceptionally proud of one of mine.
You were talking about all night, so I'm really,
proud.
really happy for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're excited. So, but how many you got?
I have 3.
Okay.
Of which none of them I'm super excited about, but I'm okay with.
All right.
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay. So this is the second film we've watched this year with the Owen brothers.
Who?
The Owen brothers. Sorry, Wilson brothers.
Yeah, sure.
That's a bad note.
This is a really good beer,
This
Dogfish
is really
Head.
sorry.
Oh God.
So
what kind of shitty parents named both their sons Owen? Hey,
Yeah,
Owen.
Owen
Which
1,
one?
Owen 2. Yes,
God.
you know it.
You know
Okay.
what I'm talking about.
Let's go back. This is the second film we've watched this year with the Wilson brothers. Zoolander for Owen and Legally Blonde for Luke. But the first of them together. Which of the two is older, Owen or Luke?
I feel like Owen's older.
By 2 years.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah, I was
job.
Wait a second here. I
Yep.
think
Well
speaking
done.
as the younger
Right?
of the two brothers, I can kind of smell out when the younger one is desperate for his brother's attention. So I see that in Luke.
Yeah, Owen's the screenwriter and Luke.
Right,
is
yeah,
the-
look, yeah, Luke just comes along for the ride. Oh, you want to be an actor?
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
here you go.
But
Sub question.
You
tricky bastard.
Did you realize this film also stars a third Wilson brother?
Yeah, Tex.
Because you're probably
Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
his name is Andrew. Thank you.
But in the movie,
Yeah,
it's
he's
Tex.
the oldest Wilson brother. He's 5 years older than Owen. He plays Father Farmer, which is Margot's biological Amish father.
Yeah.
And yes, Tex Hayward in the audio.
Right, because people
Other than
always
that.
thought it was Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
They sound a lot alike.
Totally. Yes.
A lot alike.
Yes.
Yeah, you do hear it like, oh, yep, there it is.
And the funny thing is, like, the hand. Did you read that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The BB
Yeah.
that they have where it shows under Chaz's skin.
Right.
It's really Andrew Wilson. And that scene was from Owen Wilson's real life where he shot Andrew to have the BB still there.
Texas Brothers, man.
I tell you, those crazy, crazy guys. So, yeah. Well done.
There we go.
Again, the Owen brothers, as we talked about.
Yes, absolutely. So, my first one, I think I'm going to talk about. Yep. So, Angelica Houston is the third Houston to win an Oscar. Did you know that?
No.
Right. So, her dad, like her father and grandfather, both won Oscars.
Okay.
She is the second family. There's two families who have won 3 generations worth of Oscars. One is Angelica Houston, John Houston, and I cannot off the top of my head remember John Houston's father.
Senior.
Right. But can you name the other family who has 3 generations of Oscar winners?
It's got to be the Fondas.
Great guess, but no, that's just Henry and actually, I don't think Henry Fonda won an Oscar. Oh no, he did, but it was just Henry and Jane.
Oh,
There's just
okay, yeah, okay, 3 generations.
Yep. It is a little deceptive.
That's really
there is a Bill Murray connection to this. That's actually family as well, by the way.
Good trivia.
One of them wrote and directed a Bill Murray film.
Is that Reitman's?
No. Ivan
no,
Reitman
I have
did not
no
vote-
idea.
Yeah, the Coppolas.
Oh, yes.
So Francis Ford, his father wrote the score, not to Godfather, but to actually, I think to Godfather, and then Sophia won for screenplay for Lost in Translation.
Well done.
So 2 separate 3-generation winners.
Wow, that's a good trivia.
There you go.
Is it the one you're happy about?
Nope.
That's not.
Nope.
There's even a better one?
Oh, God, yeah.
Holy shnikes.
You're going to hate my better one.
Oh, that's a really
See this whole
good.
paragraph up here? That's the.
Oh, my God. That's like single spaced.
I love it.
Written down. That's a really good trivia, man. Really, really good.
Yeah, it's a couple good families. I mean,
Wow.
Sophia Coppola, sorry you suck, but that's fine.
Oh, but Lost in Translation, you take that back. That's a fantastic movie.
So what's your next trivia question,
Okay.
Tim?
We'll come back to that in a few years. Oh, man.
I've only ever seen it once, and I will give it a second chance. I hated it the first time around.
Oh my God, I can't wait to watch it again. The creator of a highly acclaimed 2003 Fox sitcom cites the Royal Tenenbaums as almost derailing his efforts to make that show, since he was worried he would be ripping off the style of the movie. What sitcom follows a dysfunctional family with narration that came out in 2003 for a couple seasons?
Just a couple seasons?
3.
Oh, Arrested
and then it was
Development?
picked up by Netflix. Yep. Arrested Development, yeah.
Yeah. 'cause
Mitch
at first I was
Hurwitz.
like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that does fit a lot, actually.
He said the idea was in his head, and he saw the movie, he was like, damn it, that's so much better than what I could do. And then he still went with
nailed
it,
for 3
and still
seasons.
nailed it.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. But I was like, seeing like, yeah, that could be the whole like dysfunctional family narration, and yep, there you go. Well done.
Cover. I had to turn this off, so now I have to cover my.
If you think my eagle eyes can see that, or my Mordecai eyes.
Do you have a Mordecai question at all?
I don't.
Okay, yeah, because I guess they use 3 different ones, and I read somewhere in my extensive research like 4 hours ago that one of them was kidnapped for ransom, and that's why they had 3 eagles. But I did not continue down that rabbit hole, largely because I was like, I don't know. I think I was like pooping at the time, and I was like, I gotta get up and go out into the other room and watch the movie because it was literally here at your house. So I'm just like, but I maybe at some point I'll do a sub note on there. So
That's
anyway,
the one you're not proud of. That's
no,
good. That's good. Yeah.
So very basically, it occurred to me halfway through this film that 2 actors in this movie had very early screen credits in Steven Spielberg films. In fact, they were their second and third actual film credits, respective to their actors. Can you name those actors and possibly what movies?
Jeez. Okay.
One of them was in. You want a date?
Yeah.
One of them was in 1991, and the other was 1987, I believe.
Well, Danny Glover in The Color Purple.
Yeah, but that wasn't early. Danny Glover had been around a long ass time. I'm talking about like 2 actors in this.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. Danny Glover was in Color Purple, but there are 2 actors in these movies. So it's obviously not somebody who's older.
Okay.
It's one of the younger guys.
Wow.
Or girls.
Wow.
Like, they have...
Was Ben Stiller?
Mm-hmm. That's one of them.
In a Spielberg movie?
Yep. In fact, he has a pretty decent... Well, not decent role, but he's in there.
In 91 or 87?
No, 87.
Was that Empire of the Sun?
Yep. Christian Bale. He's one of the soldiers. He's an American soldier in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So work my way to that one.
There you go.
With some help.
So
Thank
1991 Spielberg film.
Oh, and Paltrow is in Hook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a young Wendy.
That's a really good trivia.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, wait a
Nice.
second here, since my life basically revolves around that man.
Yes.
Yeah. Well done on the Glover one, though, too, by
Thanks.
the way. I mean...
You know, I have my moments. Helps the beer. Gets that creative juice flowing. Oh, that's good. Well done. All right, so I totally forgot Still was in the Empire of the Sun.
Great movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Great movie.
I should watch it again because I feel like I would sob endlessly now being
Probably,
a parent.
if nothing else, on because of Cadillac of the Skies by John Williams. But yeah,
John Williams. All right, director Wes Anderson, as we talked about, he's collaborated with composer Mark Mothersbaugh on his first 4 films.
Okay,
this being the third such collaboration. And Mothersbaugh has composed 86 film scores.
Oh Lord!
In his career, including Lego movies, all of them, and Thor Ragnarok. Yet his career began in the late 1970s as the co-founder, lead singer, and keyboardist of what new wave band? And I can even give you a hint.
I don't know. Go ahead with the hint.
Do whip it good.
Oh my God! But now I got to think of the name. I can picture them.
Yep. With the like red outfits and the weird hat.
The pyramid hats or whatever. Oh, what is their... Yeah. What's their name?
Devo.
Devo.
Yes. How crazy is that?
Huh.
Devo.
It makes some sense, though.
All that, and then... But you listen to us, anything Mark bothers about, I'm like, yep, that's Devo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There you go. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
I even wrote this out. I was so proud of this.
That's the first page.
Yep. So as we know, Wes Anderson has done a couple of stop motion films.
Yes.
We already mentioned Fantastic Mr. Fox
Yep.
and The Forgettable Isle for Dogs.
Never saw it.
It's fine.
No, I'll forget it.
Like Luke Wilson, it's fine.
He's fine.
So he's done the stop motion films, which may or may not be considered animated movies. For the sake of this question, they are.
Okay.
So, of all the principal actors in this film, Gene Hackman, Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelica Houston, Ben Stiller, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, Bill Murray, Danny Glover, and Alec Baldwin, all those actors, all of them have lent their voices to animated movies except one. Care to guess who of all those actors has not been in an animated film?
I can think of some of them that have.
Yep, there's some. You have a son, so there should be a couple of them that are dead on.
Oh, man.
Take your time. I've got lots of things I can clip in here, like crickets and like clock. That's fine. I'm not. Yeah, that's fine. So you
Gene
have
Hackman
9.
Gene Hackman hasn't done a animated.
Incorrect. He was in Ants.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yep.
I thought that as well.
Okay. Danny Glover.
That's actually how it got. No, Danny Glover was Prince of Egypt.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. So I got there with Gene Hackman because I was like, wait, Gene Hackman was Ants?
Yeah.
And then it just started filtering into my brain of what else.
I mean, Owen has.
Yeah, of course. That's Cars.
Luke has.
Yep.
And Gwyneth Paltrow?
Has not.
Yeah, like Angelica Houston, I'm sure she's done something.
Well, she's been in Arctic Dogs, but she was also in the Tinkerbell movies. So
Sure.
she was
Oh, yes.
voicing that.
Yeah, I watched it with my daughter. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, that's, totally.
And then Murray was Isle of Dogs.
Oh, yeah,
Hence
and
the-
Garfield.
Yeah, which is kind of animated, but
Sure.
not, right? But he was also Jungle Book.
That's true, yeah.
Which is kind of animated, but not. But yeah.
That's right.
I thought she was in Sing. I just sort of assumed Gwyneth Paltrow would have wanted to be in Sing.
Something, exactly.
But no, so I was sitting there like...
She does a freaking duet with Huey Lewis?
Yeah, in duets.
Yes.
Great, yeah, great duet.
Wow.
Bad movie,
Good
great
trivia.
Duet. Yeah, so Baldwin was in Boss Baby, and then some other stuff.
True.
And then the only other one, Stiller, was obviously Madagascar.
Yes.
And yeah, so everyone had been in an animated movie, but not of all in the last...
Oscar winning.
Right. But I mean...
With kids.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Double check me, but I went through multiple times looking at her IMDb, and I was there is no animated film.
Now there's
get the hell over yourself, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Exactly.
And be in a movie so that Apple can enjoy a freaking comedy.
Yeah, get over your goop. So,
well
done.
There you go. Well, thank you.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That was so random. I was like, wait a minute.
It's a great random.
Gene Hackman's been in
Ants.
Yeah.
I was totally like, he's so old. He didn't. Yep. There it is.
You go.
I like it.
Any final thoughts on Tenenbaums? I mean, I'm glad we did it. It was
absolutely.
This is exactly why we do it.
When we looked at the movies for 2001, I was like, yep, gotta do it. And man, I gotta watch this more often because it's so good. It drags in some areas. I'm like, okay, moving along. But
that's a Wes Anderson film right there.
Yes, it's too stylized, but overall, fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah, I agree. So our next episode will be on Black Hawk Down.
Oh.
Black Hawk Down. Slow it down, otherwise it gets really awkward. And then coming up next, we are going to record our happy hour episode on Vanilla Sky, which will be very interesting.
Yep.
And so there we go. That brings us to the end of our episode. We want to say thanks for taking some time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Follow us on Twitter at years_beers or on Facebook, or head to 20years4beers.com, which, side note, I eventually will update.
Cool.
This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Wow.
Wow, you're so dominant.
1 year, man. 1 year.
God.
What a year it's been. What else has happened?
We were in the backyard, and Stefan was like,
oh, don't give him credit.